Welcome to Metal Vice, a podcast where we talk about all things music.
Well, the things we care about.
That's right, which is mainly metal music and live music. I'm one of your hosts, Brian, joined with your other host,
Karen.
Karen, what is this episode all about?
Violence.
Yes, Vio-lence, the show we saw for Vio-lence at Reggies Rock Club. Real quick, tickets for this were $30 with $7.79 in fees. We got the will call tickets. You just walk up, tell them your name, and they check you off a list. I always hope you're going to get like a physical ticket whenever I do will call.
You're never getting it.
I know there's not physical tickets here. I just still do will call.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like a mobile thing we've never done, but whatever.
This was April 13th.
Yep, April 13th, the last show of this tour.
It was.
They were playing the Internal Nightmare in its entirety.
I didn't know that before going to the show.
No?
No.
I forgot about it before going to this show. Opening for them, though, we had Exhorder, Deceased, and Mortal Wound.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we start with Mortal Wound, the first opener? I believe it was the first opener. At least that's how we have it on our list.
Yeah, it was.
Why don't you lead off their set list for us?
Is this the full set list?
I believe this is the full set list, yes.
So they started with Drug-Filled Cadaver, Burning Sulfur, Riddled with Parasites, and they ended with Born to Get Hard.
4 songs, but I mean, it's 4 bands for a night.
Yeah, but also their songs were long.
Their songs are long, yes. I added them to our playlist. They're like 6 minutes average songs,
Oh,
6,
I
7.
figured maybe even long. Oh, yeah, 7 would make sense.
Just one, I think, was 7, but yeah, like the average, I would say, was probably around 6 minutes for these guys.
Have you listened to them again?
So I just listened to the playlist. Now we're recording this a few days after seeing the show, because I kind of honestly forgot some of the show or some of the feeling of the show and whatnot. But I do remember this band. They're very sort of death metal-y, doomy sort of sounding. A lot more like the harsh vocals.
Yeah, the vocal is more just like a growl that you don't hear vocals
that well or come clear through and whatnot.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the music. I did not enjoy the vocals, but it grew on me as the set went on. It started fitting the vibe of the music a lot more. It just took a minute or so for it to sort of mesh for me.
I really enjoyed the musical aspect of it. The vocals, not so much. But I want to listen to them again. I haven't yet, but I want to listen to it again because I really like it.
This is a band I could see sort of at like the Decibel Hair Metal Tour for sure.
It fits the vibe of Reggies too, in my mind. I don't know.
Yeah, Reggies is weird to me where I don't see it as like a death metal, doom metal sort of spot, honestly. I see it more as like a punky, hardcore sort of spot. But there's a lot of these like doom and death metal shows that come
I was going to
through.
say, every time we walk by, like almost every advertisement or sign, or you know what I'm trying to say, like the posters are like for death metal like bands.
No, I get that. I just don't think it fits the vibe of the space I get is very, like I said, punky. More punky than metal-y.
I guess I always think of the Rock Club as metal.
Okay.
And then maybe like some of the other areas are more punk. Like if you eat on the patio upstairs or like the roof deck, it's punk music playing.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I get the whole vibe for all over the place. I can see it a little bit more in the Rock Club for sure. And this was in the Rock Club. It's the only place we've actually seen a show.
Yeah.
I think they have like 2 or 3 other venues there too.
Yeah.
All in all, though, I did really like these guys. I would definitely check them out again. Need to listen to the music some more for sure.
Yeah, I want to listen to it and see if the vocals come off any different than they did at Reggie's.
Just that, like, maybe it's a live aspect sort of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or, like, how it melds together. Because, you know, sometimes, like, when you have the mixing and stuff, it melds together a little bit better than at a live show. But
yeah. What was it, like 5 guys on the stage? You had your drummer, 2 guitars, bass, and singer?
Yes.
A lot of people on this tiny-ass little stage.
Yeah, it is a really
It
small
felt
stage.
very cramped up there when they were up there.
Yeah.
But they worked the stage really well.
They did, yeah.
Anything else for Mortal Wound for you?
We can move on to Deceased.
Cool band. I really want to see them again for sure. Then we get Deceased. What do we have for their set list?
Yeah, one more song. Mortal Wound. Night of the Deceased, A Witness to Suspiria, Fading Survival, Haunted Cerebellum, and they ended with Fearless Undead Machines.
This got more into sort of old school thrashy a little bit to me.
A little bit, yeah.
Started going. This is when it started going down. And I don't want to say downhill, but down that like thrash sort of rabbit hole. Because the next three bands, this band, the next two, are definitely in that thrash sound. And I really, really enjoyed it. And that's when I started turning. I'm like, all right, this is. I'm enjoying this a lot more now. Not that I wasn't enjoying Mortal Wound first. I really, like I said, I was. It just took me a while to get into it. This though is more my go-to style.
Yeah, it definitely is
genre.
your go-to. Yeah.
And listening to them again, I really like this.
Did you? Yeah. I wish I would have. I should have listened to the set list again before, or the playlist again before we recorded again. I mean, it's only been a couple days. I remember the show pretty well.
Yeah, I feel really bad because I mean, like I said, I really enjoyed the night. I really enjoyed this band. I enjoyed all the bands, but this is when it really started like getting into my groove and getting into my style.
Yeah, like of the music.
Yeah.
And stuff. Yeah, I find it really hard, especially when there's 4 bands, to remember each individual performance.
Especially when we record this like a few days later. Normally we try to do this like the very next day, which helps quite a bit.
We need to get better at that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was still a lot of fun. I'm sad or upset that I can't remember a whole lot to say about it, other than this is definitely a band I'll check out again. Both listen to their music as well as check them out live. They had good stage presence.
Oh yeah.
For
the
being on
lead
that
vocalist
stage.
was very, very good at working the crowd, and even when we left, he was at the merch table and everything. So.
Oh, I must have missed that. Yeah.
No, yeah, he was right by where you were buying merch.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, another fun set for sure. We're probably going to burn through the next one too, which was Exhorder. Why don't you read off what we have for them?
Yep. So we have My Time, Forever and Beyond Despair, Legions of Death, Under the Gaslight, Unforgiven, Year of the Goat, Exhorder, and they ended with Desecrator. I really feel like with Exhorder, the crowd was more into it than the 2 openers, which I understand how the whole night happens where people kind of trickle in sometimes. I mean, a lot of people show up early now compared to 2019, 2020.
Pre-COVID.
2019, 2018 time period. But I really feel like this is when the crowd got really, really going and really, really like moving around a lot and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And this wasn't a sold-out show either.
No.
So there was quite a bit of room for the pit to open, and there was a good
huge.
Pit all night
like
long.
almost the whole length of the room.
Yeah, I think so.
Like
when we got in for the first band, Mortal Wound, there were people at the rail, or there's really no rail. You have the stage, right?
Yeah, but there is a railing there.
Yeah, it's like right on the stage.
It is right on the stage.
Same height as the stage.
Yeah, I'm saying there's a railing there, but it's against the stage. Yes, you're correct.
Yeah, sure. A few people there, a big gap, and then a few people in the back. So
like
it's like
people knew that there was going to be a pit.
It's like there's going to be a pit here.
Yeah.
We're not going to be a part of it, but we want to be on the edge of it, type of thing. We ended up like just saying, all right, fuck it, we'll just scooch up here behind these people on the opposite side of the pit. But that's where we ended up staying most of the night on stage left. So our normal side of the stage and whatnot.
Yeah. We haven't seen. Oh no, we did see Damage Justice over there. I was gonna say because Chemist was on the other side.
We saw Chemist from stage right. Yep, and Damage Justice on that side too.
Yeah, I liked where we were. I mean, we were like 3 people from the rail, basically, like pretty close, and I liked it because I could see the whole thing. So it was. Yeah. It was a good vantage point right there. So.
Yeah. But yeah, this is when the crowd really started to feel like they were getting into it a lot more for sure. At least like the pit for sure was going a lot harder. For the first couple bands, there were only a couple of guys, I think, in the pit, if I remember right, bouncing around, having a good time there. But this is when it really started getting fuller.
And I felt like the music was faster, which helps with pit movement as well.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
And again, like now we're going further down that thrashy sort of sound, and that's where I was like, oh, all right, I'm liking this a lot.
Yeah. I liked Exhorder a lot as well.
I think this is the first time they also announced, or the first band that announced, like, this is the last night of the tour.
Yeah, I can't remember who said that, but it could have been this band, yeah.
I think so. And they mentioned that their bassist was going to play bass for Vio-lence.
Right, exactly.
Coming up next.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jason, their bassist, stepped in because Vio-lence's bassist, I think it's Christian, I think is who it was. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Had surgery or something and couldn't make the last few shows.
I think the whole tour.
Oh, was it the whole tour?
Well, the whole tour in the U.S. because I think they did some shows in Europe,
Okay.
And then they came to the U.S., but I think it was before they left for the U.S. tour.
Okay. And this tour, like I said, they said this was the last show of the tour. It was very short, all in April from the 5th to the 13th, and like 8 shows or something.
Yeah.
So maybe that makes sense. Like,
I mean, it is a show a night, except for on the 9th. So I mean,
5, 6, 7, 8.
It's pretty much
10,
a go show or a tour, but.
So yeah, I guess that makes sense before the tour even started in the U.S. of just like having surgery and not gonna be able to make it. So that would be the whole show or whole tour.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I thought that was really cool that Exhorder's just like, you need a bassist, we have one for you.
Yeah.
We'll help out.
I did happen to notice though by the end of Vio-lence he was looking a little tired.
Yeah. To be fair, all of these bands, they're not young kids anymore. They've been around forever.
I was tired.
Yes.
And I was not performing.
Right. Well, you're always tired this late at night anyway.
It was late. Because it didn't start till 8 o'clock and there's 4 fucking bands.
Yep.
And we just, the weekend before, saw 3 fucking bands that didn't start till 9 o'clock.
Yep. You don't do well when you get tired and late at night. You're an early to bed person. I'm a late night, stay up type person, so I enjoy this shit a lot. But I did notice that too. He's just sort of at the end, sort of wandering around the stage a little bit, like
leaning on the wall.
All right, we're almost through. This is the last night of the show.
Yeah.
Go after this, get drunk, and then forget about all this shit.
Probably.
But Exhorder was awesome.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna listen to them again. They were really fun.
Yeah, I would love to see them again. More again, that thrash metal sound, that old school thrash metal sound, and it's awesome. I love that. It reminded me a little bit of seeing Evil in Ireland. That sound, like that whole night sounded like these last 3 bands to me.
Yeah, I would agree there. Yeah,
which just brought me so much happiness to hear and whatnot.
You should have grew up in the 80s in the Bay Area.
Yeah, that would have been fucking awesome. But yeah, then we get to Vio-lence. Again, playing the Eternal Nightmare album in its full. Why don't you tell us what the set list was for them?
So they start with Liquid Courage, Eternal Nightmare, Serial Killer, Phobophobia, Calling in the Corner, TDS, Take It As You Will, Bodies on Bodies, and then they ended the album with Kill on Command. But then they played 4 other songs, which is Officer Nice, Upon Their Crosses, California Uber Els, which is a Dead Kennedys cover. So I may have said that name wrong, or the song name wrong. And they ended the set with World in a World. And they had to end there because that's all the bassists learned.
Is that what they said?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, because everybody's like, one more song. And Sean was like, well, that's all that he knows, so we can't play anymore. So they had to end it.
Oh, that's cool. I must have missed that, or don't remember that.
I don't
right
remember
now.
it. Yeah, I remember that because everybody's wanting like one more song at the end.
Because I do know they didn't do an encore. It was sort of like, we're done now at this point.
Yeah.
Say goodnight. And
honestly,
we're done.
I just like when bands play till the end. Like,
you don't need an encore.
I'm with Spirit Box. Fuck the encore. Just play your songs. We know you're gonna play 2 more if you leave the stage and the lights don't come on. So it's
the same crowd banter too. I think we've seen a few people where they're like, "You want 1 more song? 2 more songs? How about 3? Now you're getting greedy. You get 2. No, give us 3. Fuck you. You get none.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, no, all right, we'll take 2. We'll take 2.
Yeah.
Like, it's fun. For somebody who's a big fan of a band.
Yeah.
I could see that. But I also agree.
Yeah. I was going to say when we were only seeing a few shows a year, it was exciting to be like, well, I know it's not over because they're going to come play it more. And now I'm just like, they're going to come out and play more because they didn't put the house lights up. Like,
yeah.
So.
There's hints there if there's going to be an encore or not, right?
Yeah.
I always thought the encore was cool because, all right, this is where you're going to get songs that might be unique for this show. But now I know that's not true. I know the sets are pretty much locked in stone. You always get the same shows no matter what city you're in. If you're lucky, you get 1, maybe 2 tracks that are unique per city.
Yeah. We have been to a couple shows in the last year. I probably shouldn't even brought this up because I can't think of the shows, but like we got like a unique song or like an extra song that was played.
Yeah.
And we only see that because we do go to Setlist FM and like, you look at other set lists and then compared to the show that you're at, you can kind of see the difference. So,
but yeah, it was interesting. No encore. I was fine with it, honestly, like you were saying.
Oh yeah, me too.
I don't care if they do encores or not. I get also the point of it of we're gonna leave the stage, go to the restroom if we have to, do whatever we need to.
They probably just go to the back and do a shot.
That, or I've heard, I can't remember where I saw this. I was reading somewhere, somebody was talking about it, and they're like, yeah, no, they actually just go back and piss in a bucket because they've been up on stage
for an hour and a half.
Yeah, and they got to go to the restroom, and it's like, all right, let's go back there real quick. Here's a bucket. Let's piss in this real quick, and then go back there on stage. So like
I could see that.
I have to go to the bathroom. But yeah, the Vio-lence was awesome. This is our third time seeing it.
I was like, it's not our first time.
I was going to say first, but I meant third.
Yeah, the other 3 bands this was the first time we've seen them.
It was,
but
yeah.
Vio-lence, we saw it Milwaukee Metal Fest.
First time, yep, last year.
Lamb of God Boat.
Which is why I wore this vest finally for a show outside Lamb of God Boat, and then to now when we're recording this podcast. So
Yep.
I do get to break it out every now and then, not that often.
Right,
yeah.
to represent the bands that were on the boat.
Few compliments on the color. People like the bright orange color of it.
Did you explain that?
I did not explain to anybody what it meant.
Boat?
I know we've talked about we need to talk to more people more often.
Yeah.
And like that's a good way to talk to people is when they come up to you. But it's like, oh shit, is that orange? It's like, yep. Okay, bye. And like I'm done talking at that point.
I heard one guy say like, oh shit, that is actually orange. I thought it was just the lights.
I heard one guy talk to me too.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't tell if that's orange or just the light. But yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I made it for the boat for all the bands on there, and I basically told myself if I ever go see these bands again, I'll wear the vest for them to celebrate them.
Exactly.
And the boat and all of that. So
yeah,
kind of cool. I got to wear it out again. I'm happy about that, but I was super happy to fucking see Vio-lence again. I loved their Milwaukee Metal Fest set. I was a bit tired, if I remember correctly. That was an interesting trip because of the car and everything.
Yeah, we had some interesting stuff happen.
But so we made it through that set. That was a lot of fun. Saw them only once on the boat.
Only once, yeah.
But that was a fucking blast on the boat again.
Yeah. Unfortunately, on the boat, that was the day I had seasickness, and I pretty much slept, I think, through their whole set.
And I remember you going up to this, going into this show, you were being like, I don't want to watch Vio-lence. I'm not a big fan of them. I don't like the vocals.
Yeah.
I don't like it. It's not good.
Milwaukee Metal Fest, I wasn't that big of a fan of the vocals. Like I said, on the boat, I slept through the entire performance. I was there. I just slept through it. I wasn't, up until this, I wasn't a fan of Vio-lence. However.
So you are now after this, huh?
I really, really liked this performance. And I took the vocals out of it, which is really hard for me because I am a vocal person. And I basically listened to the music and then, or like the instrumental parts. And then about like halfway through, I was like, okay, let's listen to the vocals, listen to the lyrics, like all that stuff. And it was better. I think it's just Sean's voice is a little off-putting to me. Not off-putting. I shouldn't say that. I don't care for it that much, which is fine. I mean, Knock Loose, I don't care for the vocals either because of the sound of the voice.
Right,
so, I mean, there's bands that I just don't care for the voice. So then it's kind of a turn off for me.
And that was sort of it for us, the first band, a little bit. Like the growl of the voice for me was a little bit like hard to get into, but as the night went on, I definitely got more into the vocals.
Yeah.
But the music aspect of it, I really enjoyed. I have no problem with the vocals for Sean of this. I can't see. I can understand though why you would say the vocals aren't my thing, but being able to like pick up different aspects of the show is really cool that you can do that.
Yeah. I mean, it's taken 2 years now of seeing this many shows to like learn that, because otherwise I'd be like, hell no, I'm not listening to this. I'm leaving.
And just like tune out.
Yeah. Where now it's more like, okay, so what's going on in the crowd? What's the bassist do? That is one thing that I have to say. I like watching the bassist play, and every single bassist for the show was on the opposite side of the stage.
They were, yeah.
And I don't know if that's where like the amps were, or like how it was just set up or whatever, because it's a small stage. But I was like, God damn it! Like every single one's over there, and I like watching the bassist play. So,
what do you think about Sean's performance, like stage presence and whatnot?
I thought it was great. Like it's almost the same as Milwaukee Metal Fest. I remember he is a really, really good head or lead vocalist and lead performer, which helps a lot as well. Also at the show, like they were encouraging people to get on the stage again.
I kind of remember that.
Yeah, like they wanted. I think it was even during Exhorder, like wanted people to like stage dive and stuff like that. So
I do remember seeing one person stage dive. There may have been more, and I just don't remember. But there was one instance I definitely remember for sure.
I think I saw 3 people do it. So
I'm indifferent on that.
I know. We've kind of brought this up a little bit more recently because I mean it's been happening a little bit more at some of the shows we went to, but I'm just like not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm more of like you don't get the fuck on the stage. You stay off the goddamn stage. If the band says get up here, it's a little different, right? But still, even then, I'm like, nah, I don't know about that.
And the venue's set up for. I mean, like you said, like earlier, the rail is against the stage, so you're not like. I mean.
Yeah, when I think of rail, I'm thinking more of a barrier than a sort of gap, like a moat type thing between that and the stage, where security is typically happening. Okay. So yes, there's a rail, there's that barrier thing.
I consider a rail something that I can lean on.
So the stage, you were leaning on the stage because you wouldn't be leaning on the rail because the rail's below the stage of Reggies.
No, it's not.
We'll see. I view it as, I don't know if I have a good image of it.
No, I was watching people lean on it all night.
Oh, okay. Any case, that's still not, to me, a rail. It's like you're on the stage at that
You
point.
are basically on the stage. And that's why when you were saying it, I said the rail is against the stage.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Sean's a great fucking headman, lead for a band, whatever the fuck you want to call him. When he sings, got that massive fucking vein popping out of his forehead.
I noticed that too. This is the closest we've been to the stage. Oh, no.
You have.
On the boat. Yeah, on the boat, you were like right on the stage.
Right, because the boat was very similar to this with no rail, what I call no rail, what you call a rail, but nothing. You're on the stage, and you could walk right up to it. And I was basically right there just hanging onto an amp on stage left again.
We just gravitate that way.
Yeah, we do. But that was the closest I'd been, for sure then too. But this was super close as well. I love Reggies because you can get that close, you can get that intimate.
Yeah.
Even if you're not that close and it's a packed house, like the show I saw before, this was that Decibel tour that they did in 2024. That was fucking insanely packed. Which again, I was shocked that sold out. Like again, that does not seem like that crowd to me. But this does seem more of that crowd. But the fact that sold out and this wasn't sold out was very, very odd to me.
Yeah.
That like this was a Saturday night too. So I don't know. It was kind of weird that it didn't sell out. But tickets were cheap. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I found it weird. Unfortunate, but still a great night all around. Decent number of people there to make the house feel packed, even with like a massive fucking pit going on.
I like that aspect where you can have a massive pit and you feel like you can move a little bit. Like, I mean, we couldn't really move that much, but I mean, you have some space to like at least shift your feet and stuff.
See, and that was the thing with that Decibel show is it felt like it was oversold a little bit.
Yeah.
And my foot was sort of flaring up and hurting to walk on. So I still went and sort of hung out on a wall and there's like no way I was getting on the crowd or down or fighting into the crowd at all because my foot would just not, if I got pushed around at all, my foot would like just sting in pain. And I was like, fuck that, I'm not doing that. I'm going to hang back here, which was disappointing. But for this show, if my foot was having issues, I could have easily been there on the floor.
Oh, yeah.
Enjoying the show from down there.
And being in a safe spot where you're not getting kicked around and moved around. Yeah.
I don't remember what point in the night. It may have been California Uber Allies or...
Oh, no, I think it was because they were talking about that they started in like the punk scene and they didn't really fit in the punk scene. So then like the metal scene kind of like took them over, but they wanted to do a throwback to that. So they did a Dead Kennedys.
Yeah, and I think that's when Kyle from Exhorder comes out and like sings along and whatnot. I think it's cool when bands do that. Like they come out and do like the special guest singing type thing.
As long as they don't fuck up the song I want to hear. Like Wage War.
I mean, sure.
No, I like it a lot better now. Yeah.
It's a fun experience that, you might not ever see that again unless on this tour only type thing, right?
Yeah.
So that was really cool. But other than that, there weren't a whole lot of other surprises. They played the entire Internal Nightmare album in its entirety. They came out to a track that wasn't... they did it in order too, I believe. So... except for the first track not being on the album. On the deluxe album, it's
okay. Yeah.
The second disc of that is like the live version, and they did the same thing where they came out to that track.
Okay, yeah.
And that just could be Vio-lence's sort of go-to first track.
Like their first track, yeah.
I don't know for sure.
Kind of like Memento Mori for Lamb of God is like how they open everything.
Yep.
Except for when we saw them on the boat for the second
Right. Yeah.
Because we were talking about that. Like, are they going to come out to it?
I thought that'd be awesome if they did, but I don't know. I don't know enough about Vio-lence
to
know if that's what their main opening track
Yeah.
is. Again, this is only the third time we've seen them. They've taken several breaks throughout the year. Like, they were big in the 80s and early 90s.
Throughout their course of a lifetime.
Sure.
You said year.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Without their, I meant career, not year.
Career, yeah.
But yeah, they're like really big in the 80s and 90s. Not really big. Really, they were around. They were around in the 80s and 90s, and then sort of took a break, came back in the early 2000s, and then back around, right before COVID, coming back again. So they've been on and off all along and whatnot.
Yeah.
So hopefully we get to see them again. It'd be super fucking awesome, but we'll see if they take another little hiatus or not.
Yeah, we'll see.
All in all, super fun night. Sorry to the opening bands that I didn't have a whole lot to add to their shit, but it was a great night, great sets all around.
It was a great tour. I mean, I think the 4 bands worked really well together.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, it was really good.
Oh, I will say one other thing. Really cool, unique experience in terms of buying merch. We went to buy the tour shirt for this tour, and they had it on pre-order. So I think we paid for it there, and she took our name down, our email down, and she's going to email us with and our address, I think, too.
Yeah,
we had to
she
give her
took
your
ID.
Your ID so she'd write it down.
Yeah.
And eventually we'll get a tour shirt. We were talking a little bit about that, why is that? How does that work? Is it because they tried to order shirts and they didn't get made in time, or is it we're going to make them to order so we know what's better?
Yeah.
I think it's the latter more
I
than
think
the
it's the
former.
latter. At first I was like, oh, maybe they tried to order them, but they didn't come, or they didn't have, the distributor didn't give them to them or whatever. But I think it's actually the latter, because they were probably like, oh, we don't want to order, 2,000 shirts and then sell
10. You're going to sell more than 10, but
yeah, like 100 or something. Yeah,
I
was like, probably more than 10, but yeah.
That's just never happened. And thinking about it, that could work. I could see more bands doing that. I don't know why more bands don't do that.
Because then you're not putting out the cost for shirts that you're not going to buy.
Right. I mean, you probably have to buy them in multiples of X, 25, 50, or whatever it is.
I'm sure they're going to buy more than what they actually sell on tour.
Yeah, and then sell them online or something.
Yeah, I mean, say that they sell 5,000 on tour, but then they buy 6,000. I don't know. That's probably way too high, but
yeah. But then at the same time, I wonder what that brings in for. Also, this venue wasn't taking merch cuts. We did ask her that as well, which is super awesome. But just that aspect, it's making me think now. All right, you don't have to lug all this tour merch around.
That's true.
You could. Some stuff you will, like CDs and vinyl and shit that people want to buy. You'll lug that shit around probably.
But you don't have boxes and boxes of shirts.
You don't exactly. It's more of what size do you need. We'll take it down. We'll mail it out to you later on. Also, then if the venue is taking a merch cut, do you count that as a sale, or would you be like, no, we don't sell this shirt?
Because I remember walking in and seeing the merch set up, and Deceased and Exhorder had most of that little section in Reggies is kind of the first hallway that you walk in. Yep. And I honestly didn't see the Vio-lence shirt.
Okay.
And then you were like, oh yeah, they have a long sleeve shirt or whatever. And I didn't know it was pre-order at that time, or we didn't know it was pre-order at that time. But I was just like, oh, that's weird. They only have one shirt when the other bands have so much. But it makes sense. I don't know. I think it makes sense.
Yeah, I could see this happening more and more. Something I'm going to keep an eye out and see if it does happen. We did do the same thing sort of with Ghost when we saw them a while ago, because the shirt you wanted was sold out.
Yeah.
But they were also selling it online, so we just bought it online.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, that was just one little new cool experience. You found a pick on the ground that was kind of awesome.
Yeah.
Got
us a Vio-lence pick.
Now, just going back down the normal rabbit hole of rambling and bullshit. All in all, like I said, great fucking show. It was live music. It was awesome. So, anything else you want to say?
No, I was happy for the show at Reggies because it's a close walk for us. So I like it.
But yeah, go out and experience some live music. It's fucking awesome.
Yep. Bye.